So welcome to the yoga class this morning. I know that you do yoga at your own risk, so notice how you feel as we move. Only make the movements that feel right for you, and you can adjust or omit anything that doesn't feel right. And we're starting lying on our backs. So whatever position is comfy for you, you can have your knees bent if your lower back feels a bit delicate, or you can have your legs stretched out. And once you find yourself in a place where you can just rest your body still, then take your attention to your breath. And with that observation of your breath, feel every breath in, every breath out. And every part of every breath in and every part of every breath out. Allow yourself a count of 4 to breathe in and a count of 4 to breathe out. So it might take a few cycles of breath before you find that count that feels comfortable, but a slightly slow but comfortable count of 4 as you breathe in, same count of 4 as you breathe out. So every breath and every in and out is the same length. And we're going to take a movement with the breath. So while we talk our way through it for the first round or two, you'll need to modify your count of 4 because we're all going to be on a different pace of breathing. But once I leave you on your own, go back to your comfortable count of 4. So you're going to take a breath in and bring your right knee onto your chest. So move slowly because it's going to be your count of 4 eventually. So you breathe in, bring your right knee onto your chest, hold around the shin, and then as you exhale, bring your forehead up towards your right knee. As you inhale, lower your back and the back of your head back down onto the floor. And as you exhale, rest your arms and legs stretched out on the floor. Breath in, left knee to chest, so we're alternating left and right, arms around your knee or shin. Exhale, forehead up towards your left knee. Inhale, upper back and back of the head slowly, gently back down onto the floor. And then exhale, stretch everything out. So you can go at your own pace if you want to right now. I'll do one more side with you. So breath in, right knee to chest. Hold round your leg. Exhale, forehead up to your knee. Inhale, rest your head back down on the floor. Exhale, stretch everything out, resting on the floor. So breath in, left knee to chest. You're on your own, so really use your own count of 4. See if you can make every movement last the count of 4. So you're moving all the time rather than moving and then being still, holding the position. So continue at that pace, don't feel rushed. You're going to finish the next time you stretch out after you've done your left leg. So there is no rush. And bring your legs together, push your heels away, pull your toes up towards you, and then reach your arms up to the ceiling and then over beyond your head. Make your arms be really straight, your elbows be straight. So your arms may not reach the floor, or you may take them a little wider in order to get them further down. But straightness we're thinking about, and shoulders relaxed away from your ears. And then again, push your heels away, pull your toes up towards you. Stretch your fingers wide. Stretch your toes wide. Relax your hands and feet. Bring your arms back down by your sides. And then bend your knees. Bring your knees one knee at a time onto your chest. Hold around them. And then have a rock side to side. Rest at the centre, and then feet back down on the floor. And roll over to the side to make your way up to standing for a salute to the sun. So you're going to be standing at the top end of your mat, facing out along the short edge. So Tadasana to start, as always, feet pointing forwards, toes pointing forwards, an even footprint, maybe a bit of softness in your knees because you don't want to push them back and overextend them. So just soft in your knees, but feet firm down, and maybe a bit of firmness in the front of your thighs as well, so legs feel strong. Lower belly gently drawn in so it feels supportive. And lengthening the spine. Picture your spine as if from the base of your spine, all those bones in your spine, each from the bottom one, the one above it lifts just above it, and then the one above it lifts up away from that, and sort of from the bottom upwards you're elongating, but your shoulders remain heavy. So quick check of your feet, your core, that lift of your spine, and then lift your arms. So keep them straight once again, with shoulders relaxed. Bring your upper arms as close to your ears as they feel they will go, and then your upper arms closer to the wall behind. And then look up between your hands. Reach your arms back and wide, and then let your your top chest lift up towards the ceiling, the centre of your chest. Shoulders are relaxed. Look forward to reach up. Feel that stretch of the arms again. Forward fold. Bend of your knees, fingers on the floor, and then rib cage relaxes, shoulders relax, head and neck. Right leg back to a lunge, and then lift your chest, look forwards. Left foot back to down face dog. Tummy button to spine. Push your hands really firmly into the floor. Keep them pressed in as you slide forwards to plank. Hold it steady. Knees gently onto the floor. Front body smoothly down, elbows close by your sides. And roll your shoulders back. Take a lift of your chest. Feel as if the backs of your shoulders are moving up into the space behind them in order to lift your chest. So it's the back doing the work rather than the front lengthening. And look back down, push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under, down face dog. Walk through the legs in down face dog. Hips stay high. And then both heels stretch down towards the floor. Tummy button to spine. Weight on the left foot, look between your hands. Step the right foot through to a lunge. Step the left foot forward, forward fold. As much knee bend as you need. And then a much deeper bend of your knees, hips down towards the floor, and then shoulders lift you up. Straighten your legs, come all the way up to standing, palms together, squeezing your upper arms in and back. And then palms down in front of your chest. So footprints on the floor, legs engaged, core engaged, spine lifted, shoulders relaxed. Lift your arms. Look up, reach back and wide. And then push your chest towards the ceiling. Look forwards, reach up. Forward fold. Left leg back to a lunge. Right foot back to down face dog. So feel your hands on the floor, tummy button to spine, slide yourself forwards. And if you're feeling strong, leave your knees lifted. If you would rather though, place your knees down on the floor. And as you lower down, could you possibly land down all at one moment, tummy and chest at the same time? Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Back down, hands and knees, tuck your toes under, back into down face dog. So hips are high and your hands press down firmly into the floor. There's no air gaps underneath your hands. So if there are, how could you squeeze them out? And as you squeeze them out, does that allow you to send your hips a little further up and back? So it's your hands and your arms really, but your hands doing all the work. If your hands get in that nice, strong, flat, squeezing down position, it allows your hips to go further back. Weight on the right foot, look between your hands, and then left foot steps through. Right foot steps forward, forward fold. Keep bend of your knees and lift your shoulders. Stretch your legs, bring your palms together at the top, and then slide your palms down. Check your stance again. I'm going with the breath. So breath in to lift your arms. Exhale, back bend. And again, use the whole breath to make your movement like you did on the floor. Inhale, back up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back to a lunge. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. So find your best down face dog. Tummy button to spine. Hips high. And hands firm down onto the floor. Really firm on the floor. Could you make a deeper imprint on your mat with your hands? And if you do your heels come a little closer to the floor? Weight on the left foot between your hands, and then a breath in as your right foot comes forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms down. Breath in here. And a breath out. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back, smooth and continuous. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. Final down face dog. So, tummy button to spine, hips high, and then ground down into that hand first, 2 handprints on the floor. Ground them down so that your hips can lift diagonally up and back, and your heels find a little bit closer to the floor. With a steady breath. And then weight on the right foot to lift between your hands. The left foot steps through on a breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Palms together. And then exhale, palms down. Your best standing tall once again, a breath in. And a breath out. And then rest your arms by your sides. So once the body's settled down again, we're going to balance in tree pose. So find your ideal position for tree pose. You can have something to rest a hand on either side if you want to, or you can just rely on if you need a bit of extra balance, toes on the floor, as we've talked about before, slightly harder than holding onto something at the side. So if you want to just have a little bit of help, then toes to the floor. Don't try and go onto one leg and hold something at the same time, because that's a lot easier. So the same mountain pose, Tadasana. And then we're going to stand on the right leg, so bend your left knee, turn it right out to the side but without turning your hips, and then either heel to ankle, or if you want to balance on one leg, foot to calf, maybe foot to thigh. But keep the knee wide out to the side, palms together. So we're back into mountain pose with the rest of the body. It's just that left leg that's in a different place. So can you balance your body back how it was before? So a firm footprint, engaged core, and an elongated spine. And then lift your arms. So shoulders stay relaxed. Straighten your elbows as if you're lifting your elbows up away from your shoulders. And then upper arm just slightly in, slightly back. And a steady gaze. One more breath in here. Breath out, palms down. Another breath in. And a breath out, foot to the floor. Rest your arms by your sides. So have a moment to see what you feel like. It's easy just to go into a shake. And if you need to shake, if something's locked up, then obviously do unlock it. Do whatever action you need, but sometimes it's just a standing still. Bring your gaze back to your balancing gaze point. Bend your right knee, turn it out to the side. Same position if your legs are equal on both sides. So if you've got an injury or anything like that, you might want a different position, but otherwise try and have the same. So heel to ankle with toes on the floor, or foot on your calf, or foot up on your thigh. And then palms together. Find your best standing posture. Then lift your arms. Lifting your elbows away from your shoulders. Arms in, arms back. Steady breath. Breath in. Exhale, palms together. Breath in. And then exhale, foot to the floor. Rest your arms. Have a moment. Then take a lie down on your front on your mat. And as you lie down, make a pillow with your hands to rest your forehead on. Leaving your upper body where it is, just relaxed, and think for a moment just about the bottom half. So bring your legs parallel-ish, so not feet wide out to the side, parallel-ish, and you can feel your big toe and your little toe on the floor. So your knees are pointing down towards the floor, your knees are pointing forwards. Often there's a real temptation sometimes to roll your heels in towards each other, especially in what we're about to do. So feel what straight on legs feels like, and I'll remind you just to roll your heels away. Some people do, some people don't when you lift your legs. So stretch your toes away, and as you stretch your toes away, lengthening your legs, feel your kneecaps just lift a little bit off the floor as your thighs tighten slightly. So we're going to keep the legs elongated. You're going to lift them by feeling like you're lifting up the top of your knees, so where your knees and your thighs join, as if you're moving that away from the floor. Let that lift your legs. It won't lift much. Lift it up and then elongate again. So now check that your heels haven't rolled in towards each other. Stretch out. It's a real strong feeling of the legs. Your hip creases are heavy on the floor. And then just lower your legs back down. So that's the action we're going to do with the legs. Remember the feeling of lifting, it's not lifting your feet. It's almost like you're lifting the top of your knees, and that gives you the lift in the legs. And toes are pointed, legs stretched. So we're going to do the upper body as well. So bring your fingertips to your temples. Just let your legs rest for this first time, so we can think about the upper body. But fingertips to temples, elbows wide out to the side, and then just elbows and hands, wrists, everything apart from your forehead or your chin, a little bit away from the floor, and shoulders away from your ears. So hip crease down to the floor, so your lower back is lengthened. And then all the parts of the back of your upper body, so the backs of your arms, the bits that are facing up towards the ceiling, and backs of your shoulders, you're going to lift them into the space above where they currently are. And as you do that, your chest turns up towards the wall in front. So think more about the back of the body moving back, and then allow the chest to lift. Then gently roll back down. So that's the action we're going to do with the upper body while we extend the legs out the back. So really your hips are the bit that's your centre of gravity as you do this, because you're lifting your legs, you're lifting your upper body. So we really want to firm down through your hips, make them nice and strong. So fingertips to temples, elbows wide, shoulders relaxed, toes pointing. Let's think about the legs first, stretch them long, and then lift up just at the top of the knees, lift them away from the floor, elongate them again. And when you take your next breath in, you're going to move the back of your upper body up away from where it currently is to lift your chest. Lovely. So stretch your toes, relax your shoulders, lift the back of your shoulders, your elbows, and then exhale, lower back down. So make your pillow again, take a little rest. Same start again, but we're going to add a little bit of variation. If you don't want to add the variation, then just make that same lift and lower. So fingertips to temples, hips firm down onto the floor, stretch your toes, lift your legs, elongate them, and then as you take a breath in, lift your back of your shoulders, the back of the arms up away from the floor to lift your chest. Then you're going to extend the arms wide out to the side. So once the arms are out, stretch the legs again. Turn your hands forwards, your palms forwards, your whole arm in that direction, so that your chest lifts more up towards the wall in front. Okay, it's like you're flying. Elongate your legs, lift your chest. Steady breath, one more breath in. And then as you exhale, lower everything back down. Find your pillow again. Let everything relax. Stretch your toes out, stretch your legs out even. Fingertips to temples, arms a little way away from the floor. And then lift your legs, elongate your legs. Breath in, lift your arms, your shoulders. Lift your chest. Stretch your arms out wide. Don't turn them forwards this time though. Elongate them out. Elongate your legs. And then swim your arms around to point in the same direction as your toes. Fingertips in the same direction as your toes. Okay. And then turn your palms down. Rotate your arms in that direction. So your shoulders roll back. And then squeeze your upper arms closer together. Elongate and lift. Steady breath. One more breath in. And then exhale, lower back down. Make your pillow, rest your forehead. To allow your breathing to come back to normal. And slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift yourself up onto hands and knees. Knees nice and wide apart. And hands maybe a little bit forwards of your shoulders, so it's a nice sturdy place to be. You're going to take your left hand into the centre of the mat, because that hand is going to support you. And you're going to pick up your right hand and fingertips to temples, elbow out to the side. A bit of a lift of your chest, because we're going to take a twist. So turn your chest to the right, lift that right elbow up towards the ceiling. Think about your rib cage turning and allowing the elbow to point up more towards the ceiling. So hand on the floor gives you a bit of leverage as well. Keep your chest feeling lifted. Lovely. And then look back down at the floor. You're going to take your right hand, your right fingers behind your left wrist. And then as if you're trying to reach halfway up that left wall, you're turning your rib cage now to the left in the other direction. You're threading your right shoulder underneath you. Lovely. So we're going to move between those two positions with the breath. So as you breathe in, you lift up and turn to the right as if you're saluting. Turn your rib cage that way. And then as you exhale, slide your right hand behind your wrist. Reach to the left wall. Turn your rib cage that way. Breath in again, lift up to the right. Exhale, thread through to the left. One more time, breath in, lift up to the right. Turn your ribs. Exhale, thread through to the left. And then bring your right hand back down onto the floor. Separate your hands, have a moment there. And then right hands to the centre, wherever it feels it's going to be the best support for you. Left fingertips onto your temples. So chest is lifted, don't be looking down at the floor, look a little bit ahead. And then turn to the left. So your left elbow lifts up. It's like you're lifting the back of the shoulder again into the space behind it. And your rib cage is turning. Your hips don't turn, your rib cage turns. Right hand on the floor, beautiful. Right hand on the floor gives you that leverage. So you can find your maximum turn. And then left fingers come off your temple behind your right wrist. And then they reach out as if they're trying to reach halfway up that wall to the right that you're now looking at. Feel your rib cage turning, left side ribs coming through underneath. So with the breath 3 times. A breath in to lift up to the left. And a breath out to thread through to the right. Breath in, lift up to the left. Exhale, thread through to the right. Inhale up to the left. Exhale, final thread through to the right. And then gently bring your left hand back down on the floor. Make sure your knees are wide apart. And then sit your hips back on your heels. Relax forwards in child's pose, but make as much structure as you need so that you can rest your forehead on something, whether it's your fists or block or the floor or just one hand, whatever you need to give you that support. And reach our arms forwards, look towards your hands. So your forehead's no longer on the floor, you're reaching forwards. You're going to walk your hands around to the right a little. And then when they've gone round to the right, you can just rest your right elbow on the floor for a bit of support. But lift your hips like 6 inches up away from your hips or wherever they were, 6 inches up from where they were. Reach your left arm further forwards because it'll go further forwards now. Leave that left hand on the floor. As you try to sit your hips back, obviously they won't go because you're leaving your left hand on the floor, but you get a big stretch on the left side of your body. So relax your head and neck. Every time you breathe in, press your left hand firmly down on the floor, pull your hips back. Find your best stretch as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you can ease off a little bit, ready to take this stretch again as you next breathe in. One final breath in, and then as you exhale, bend your left elbow, sit your hips back, come back to the centre, have a moment at the centre. Stretch your arms out along the mat, look forwards towards your hands, and then walk your arms around to the left this time. Then left elbow can rest on the floor, Your hips lift up a little bit. You stretch your right hand further forwards along the mat, so it's right at the top corner of the mat. Keep that palm firmly down as you then let your hips pull back towards your hips pull back towards your heels. Relax your shoulders, relax your head and neck. So every breath in, it's strong down through your right palm and a pull back through your hips. And every breath out, just ease off a little bit. So over the next few breaths, you find the place that gives you the best stretch. One more strong breath in. And then as you exhale, bend your right elbow, walk back to the centre, find your child's pose again. Arms wherever you want them. And hands under shoulders. Lift yourself up, lift your head off the floor, bring yourself upright. A moment there before we stand up. We're going to stand up and we're going to be doing first warrior today, so that's facing the short edge of the mat. So I'm going to have my mat sideways on, maybe a little bit, yeah, maybe sideways on, but you can be forward on. I just want you to see a side view today. So you want to stand towards the back of your mat, feet a little bit apart. And then the left toes turn out. The right leg takes a long stride forwards, a good long one. And if you feel a little bit unbalanced, right foot wider out to the right. A wide stance makes it easier to balance. Also makes it a bit easier on the hips, because we're going to talk about turning the hips to the front. So if you find that really difficult, try taking your feet a little bit wider apart. So start with your hands on your hips and see how my hip wants to roll back this way. Even if my shoulders are facing this way, my hips still want to come towards the left. So really encourage them round. See the difference between those two positions. See if you can get this hip coming forwards. And picture the left leg. Dig the back heel into the floor. So one end is digging into the floor. The other end is pulling forwards. And it's almost like the outside edge of this top end is pulling forwards. And as it pulls forwards, you might lose a bit of tension in the leg, so dig the heel back down again. So keeping that feeling in the leg, it kind of needs constant attention, but take a breath in, and then as you exhale, bend the right knee. So all the time you're digging the back heel in, you're keeping this outside tip of the top end rolling forwards. Take a look down at your leg at the front. My knee's a little bit forward to my ankle, so I'm going to creep my foot forwards. You want knee above ankle. Lovely. So feel the back leg again. Roll that hip forwards. It always wants to come back. Keep rolling it in. Dig the back heel down and then lift your arms. Tailbone heavy. The lower back really wants to arch in this position, and it will. Mine certainly does. But don't allow it to arch any more than it has to. So tailbone feeling heavy, as if that's dropping down to the floor. Feel your back leg again, back heel down, outside edge of the top of the thigh pulling forwards. And then with your arms, that same feeling of elbows reaching up away from your shoulders and your upper arms moving towards the wall behind. Breath in, lifting tall up through your arms. Exhale, sinking your hips. Breath in again, lifting up tall through the front of your body, up through your little fingers. Exhale, sinking. Thinking about the back leg all the time. One more breath in. One more breath out. You keep your legs where they are, keep that back leg really strong, but windmill your arms around until your fingers point out towards your back heel, so a little bit beyond vertical. And then let your shoulders come forward till you find a straight line. So your upper body comes in the same angle as your back leg now. Make sure your hips are square, your shoulders are square. And then that diagonal line through the back of your body, can you angle it a bit lower, but not by rolling your shoulders forwards, by dropping your hips. Shoulders roll back and your fingertips point down closer to the floor behind you. Lovely. So the whole of the back of the body is working. The more angle you get, the stronger it is. And then look down just in front of your front foot. Pick up your back heel so that you can reach forwards. Bring your fingertips onto the floor and step the left foot forward. So you're in a forward fold. Right? Yeah. Keep your knees bent. Take a hold of the opposite elbow with each hand. Hang for a moment. And then release your hands. A good deep bend of your knees. Tuck your tailbone under, your chin in. Roll back up to standing. And then take a step back to the back of the mat. I'm going to come forwards this time because then I get a better view of all of you. So hands on hips. This time the right leg turns out, the left leg steps forwards. So you square your hips. The right outside hip rolls forwards and the back heel digs into the floor. So that right leg, the back leg, that's your strength in this posture. Hold it tight, it's going to help you. Breath in, and then as you exhale, you bend the left knee. Wonderful. Think about the hip rolling forwards. Have a check, make sure your knee is above your ankle. You may need to creep your foot forwards. Remember, you can take your foot wider on the mat as well if you want to. Tailbone heavy. Is your back heel making an indent into the mat? Lift your arms. And then lift up through your elbows. Take your upper arms back. Breath in to lift up. Breath out to sink. Always strong through the back leg. Breath in to lift up. Breath out to sink. One more breath in. And one more breath out. And windmill your arms down, but keep your legs exactly where they are. Then bring your upper body in line with your leg, the angle of your leg. Hips are square, shoulders are square. Roll your shoulders back, reach your fingers down, and then see if you can lower your hips forwards to lower that angle of your straight line. So you can still keep your gaze forwards. You're not rounding your shoulders forwards. Lovely. Back leg still holding you up. That's your strength still. And then look down at the floor in front of your front foot. Lift up the back heel. Take a good deep bend of the front knee so you can get your fingertips onto the floor. Have a moment there, and then when you're ready, step the back foot forwards. Feet hip distance apart. Take a hold of the opposite elbow with each hand. Hang down. As much bend in your knee as gives you a good stretch of your back, your lower back. And release your elbows. A good deep bend of your knees. Tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin under. Roll yourself back up. So then you're going to step Turn yourself around so that the long edge of your mat is now in front of you for a wide leg forward fold. Lovely, so feet as wide apart as you're comfy to have them, hands on hips and toes a little bit turned in. Take a breath in as you lift your chest, and as you exhale you're going to hinge from your hips. So really feel that it's just your hips hinging. Your spine stays elongated, there's no rounding yet. And when you can't go any further without rounding your back or bending your knees, then you just let go with your arms, push down with your feet, and let your shoulders relax. Everything drops, all your upper body drops down with gravity. So your legs are holding you there. If you've got your hands on the floor, they give you a little bit of balance, so that's good. If not, hands on legs gives you that bit of support. So take your option. Strong down through the outside edges of the legs. And as you take a breath in, it's like the skin on the backs of the thighs pushes up towards the ceiling. You might even feel, if you've got your fingers on the floor, that you need to bring your central gravity forwards to really get that big lift in your hips. But that's your breath in. And then as you exhale, you relax your upper body, your shoulders, your head and neck. 2 more breaths like that. A breath in to push up through the backs of the legs. Maybe bring your central gravity forwards, and then an exhale to soften. 1 more breath in. And 1 more breath out. And then a good deep bend of your knees. Fingertips on the floor, underneath your shoulders, so maybe a bit in front of the mat. Heel toe your feet, so they're slightly wider than hip distance. And your toes are turned out to the side. And then you lower into a squat. As much of a squat as you want. You can stop wherever you want and rest wherever you want, or you can come all the way down. And if you've got the balance with your feet flat on the floor, then feel free to lift your chest. Get your elbows inside your knees to push them wide. When you push them wide, you kind of roll a bit more onto your feet more evenly, because I think very often in squatting position, we're on the inside edges of our feet. Can you roll onto a flat foot? Taking your knees wide will help that. So look down at the floor in front. You're going to lift your hips, bring your hands down onto the floor, and then one knee, the other knee. Slowly down, find your way to lie down on your back. And then rest there for a moment. Bend your knees, feet onto the mat, arms wide out to the side. And then with your feet on the floor, just move your hips over to the left side of your mat. So your spine is slightly unparalleled with the length of the mat. Knees onto your chest. Keep them lifted, keep them together as much as you can. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, take the legs over to the right. So backs of the arms stay strong down onto the floor. Maybe the outside of the right leg can land on the floor, and then the left leg can just see where it wants to go. You can take your right hand onto your left knee to guide it, or just to hold it steady, or to give it support, whatever feels comfy. Look up at the ceiling, or you can turn and look over your left arm. Relax your ankles, relax your legs, relax your shoulders. If there were no muscles in your body, what would your skeleton do if you just put it here? Turn your head to the left, look back up to the ceiling, stretch your right arm out, and then we're going to bring the knees back onto our chest. So you might want to move the left leg first and then the right leg. Once you get onto your back, feet on the floor so that you can center your hips. And if when you're in your twist, you have no choice but that shoulder to really lift up off the floor and the arm is dangling, then instead of starting with your arms out to the side at shoulder height, take them a little bit lower. Start with them a bit lower. See if that makes a difference. You can adjust when you get there as well. They can be higher or lower, but feel free to move your arms along the floor. So either out to the side or closer in towards your body. So this time we're going to lift the hips, take them over to the right, and then knees to chest. Tuck them up as much as you can. Take a breath in. As you exhale, knees over to the left. So right arm and shoulder stays on the floor as much as it possibly can. Lift hands onto your right knee if that feels comfy or secure or good in any way. Don't rush to be in your twist. Sometimes it can take like a half a minute or a minute to get to your relaxed place. So don't be frustrated. And if you want to look over your right arm, do. This is the time when you might want to move that right arm a little down closer to the back of your waist. Because you want it to be relaxed, you want that shoulder to be rolled back rather than pinging forwards. And then picture your skeleton again as if there were no muscles. If it could just sit where it wanted to sit. Gravity, just let it settle. And turn your head, look back towards the ceiling, stretch out your left arm, bring your knees back to the center, maybe the right leg first and then the left leg. Feet on the floor when you get there so you can stretch out, center yourself, and then stretch both legs out. Let your attention settle on your breath once again and come back to that 4-4 breath. Count of 4 to breathe in, a count of 4 to breathe out. Just find the pace of breath, pace of count rather, that suits a slow, comfortable breath for you. We're going to come back to the sequence that we started with at the start of the class. But this time you might want to do both legs at the same time. So we did, it was knee to chest, forehead to knee, head back down on the floor and then stretching out. We did it right and then left alternating. You can do right and left alternating again, or you can do both legs together, whatever you prefer. But you're going to take a breath in to lift your knees up onto your chest, or one knee onto your chest, hands around your knees. As you exhale, forehead up towards your knee. Inhale, back of the head gently back down on the floor. Exhale, stretch your arms, stretch your legs out along the floor. So if you're alternating, you go on the other side. Inhale, knees to chest, hands around. Exhale, forehead lifts. Inhale, back of the head gently down. Exhale, stretch out. So come back to your count of 4 in, 4 out. And again, really make each movement take as long as that count of 4 takes to make the breath. So you're constantly moving. There's no point in the sequence where you stop moving. And you continue at that same pace until you next stretch both legs out. And if you've been going one leg at a time, then make yourself equal. If you started on the right leg, then finish on the left. Don't rush. When you have finished, make yourself as comfy as you can. So if your lower back feels at all delicate, then have a bend of your knees. Otherwise, stretch your legs out, maybe take them a little wide. And then arms slightly away from your body, palm face up. Just adjust anything to make it its most comfortable. A moment just to listen out for any noises that you can hear in your room, outside your room. And then feel the floor underneath you, feel the floor supporting you. Take your arms beyond your head. Stretch your arms long. If your knees are bent, stretch them away. Push your heels away, put your toes up towards you. And then point your toes away. Then release the stretch. Take a bend of your knees, feet on the floor. And then knees up onto your chest, hands on your knees. One hand on each knee, and then guide your knees around. Big circle, big slow smooth circle. And back the other way. And come to rest at the centre. See which side would be a good side to roll to. Make your roll onto that side. And then gently back up to sitting. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today.